The whole point of this channel is to help you win. And a lot of people think that real estate is all about money or luck or deal flow. But what if you actually thought of real estate as like the greatest video game ever created? A game that has cheat codes in different levels. One that can be won by average, everyday people just like you. In this video, I want to help you detach your emotions and think of the game of real estate as one that you can play and you can win. The most important thing that you got to understand is you're the main character of the game. You get to choose what type of player you are. Are you the wholesaler, the rehabber, the landlord, or the developer? Every single character has its own challenges and rewards. But it's not about having some magic idea of exactly where you're going to start. It's really more important for you to focus on, do I have the skills and capabilities and hustle to be able to go out there and execute? And if you think of it like a video game, it's almost like you're trying to grow and increase your score to get better and better and better. So where are you going to get those skills and capabilities? A lot of times it's going to be taking courses in a classroom, going to live events, joining groups. The more work you put in the classroom, the faster you're going to learn the language of real estate investing. And then when it comes to your hustle score, now we're talking about your vision, your resilience, your grit, your discipline. How do you show up every single day? What is your attitude? What do you do when you have to go do something really challenging, scary, and overwhelming, and you don't feel like doing it, but you get up and you do it anyways? The more work ethic you have, the more you increase the 6 inches of real estate between your ears, which I believe is the most important real estate you can ever work on. And you can get that score from a 0, where you're starting out, to a level 10, you're going to be able to play this game and dominate at it. Every video game has a map, right? Well, in real estate, your market is your world, and you just gotta choose which market you wanna play in. Do you wanna be in a small town, a big city? Do you wanna focus on residential, RV parks, self-storage, multifamily, commercial? Each segment has its own rules, opportunities, and risks. And choosing your market is all about knowing your own strengths, your resources, and your appetite for adventure. But the most important thing is for you to pick a world and just start playing. Every game has a final boss. In real estate, it's the big deals, the big risks, and the big rewards. Maybe it's you doing your first commercial development deal. Maybe it's you purchasing your first 100-unit multifamily property. Maybe it's you going out there and raising your first $1 million. The end game is all about mastering the skills that got you here and learning new ones you never even thought you needed. It's all about facing your fears, trusting your team, and playing to win. Let's break down the levels of the game. Now, there are 4 main levels. I'm gonna start talking a little bit faster just because we got a lot of content to cover. So level 1 is wholesaling. This is no money down real estate investing. This is where most people start. This is where you learn the language of real estate. You gain marketing skills, people skills, how to start and scale a business skills. This is where I started, and this is where I earned my first $1 million. In fact, my first year, I looked at my tax returns. 12 months after I did my very first wholesale deal, I made $1.3 million doing this strategy. So even though there's very little risk on this strategy and the quick cash is little bit lower than some of the other strategies we're going to talk about, it is a great place to start. And in fact, here in a minute, I'm going to break this down in way more detail. But this is quick cash, flipping contracts. The concept's pretty simple. It's you finding a motivated seller that has a piece of real estate where the real estate is distressed or the seller is distressed. You negotiate a deal on their piece of real estate at a discount from retail. You put that piece of real estate under contract, then you flip that contract to a cash buyer, which is typically a landlord or a rehabber, for a small payday. Normally you're making $10,000, $15,000, $20,000. When wholesaling, sometimes you make more, but on average, my average wholesale fee is about 12 to 15K per deal. And as you're doing your wholesaling, the buyers of your wholesale deals are typically house flippers. These are like people you see on HGTV that are buying distressed real estate, fixing it up, and then selling it for a profit. House flipping is actually level 2. And this is where you're able to make bigger paydays. You buy distressed real estate. A lot of times we source our deals from wholesalers or sometimes from real estate agents on the MLS. But you are buying the distressed real estate, fixing it up, and selling it for a bigger payday. And what ends up happening is you start over here as a wholesaler, you're selling it to a house flipper, or sometimes level 3, you're selling it to a landlord. We'll get to that in a second. But what you realize is you make $10,000 or $15,000 by selling a good deal to a flipper, and then they turn around and make $65,000, $70,000 3-4 months later, and you kind of scratch your head and you say to yourself, am I on the wrong side of the equation here? Should I always be a wholesaler? The answer is no. Wholesaling's the beginning stage, but you want to graduate to level 2. When you find one of those really good deals, instead of making 10 or 15K in quick cash, you want to have the courage to take it down. Now, some of the skills you need to be a house flipper is people management skills, lots of patience, lots of your ability to actually deeply analyze a deal. We make money when we buy these deals, so we want to find good deals, underwrite them really well, and buy them right, and also being able to network really well. So you got to be able to find the wholesalers that can bring you good deals. You got to find lenders, whether they're private lenders or hard money lenders, to be able to fund your deals. But this is where you're making better, bigger payday. So anytime you're wholesaling, you find one of those good deals, you want to cherry pick it out and actually run the play and make a bigger payday. And like I said, level 3 is actually taking down rentals. Now, it took me a few years of quick flipping and actually doing real flipping before I took down my first rental property. And the reason is I was making so much money over here. I was like, why do I want to own rentals? And then I got a tax bill one time. My tax bill was $550,000 because I made so much money over here, and I about lost my you-know-what because I didn't save my money. I was treating, as a self-made guy, I didn't understand that every time I was wholesaling or flipping, all that cash I was making at warp speed, I had a business partner. My business partner was Uncle Sam, and I needed to pay my taxes, and I didn't do it until it was too late. I already spent a bunch of the money. And I started to realize that only through owning real estate, and this level 3 is the first level where you actually become a real estate investor. Flippers and wholesalers just have really awesome, high-paying jobs. When you start owning single-family rentals, that's when the tax game comes into play and you actually start building wealth. Now, there's 2 reasons that you want to own rentals. You get the cash flow coming in. Whether you're working or not, your tenants are paying down your mortgage. So you get the appreciation of the market, hopefully, if the market goes up over time, which historically it goes up at least 3%. Sometimes it goes down in a bad market, but over a long period of time, it typically goes up. So you get appreciation. You get the tax write-offs from owning the real estate. And there's lots of tax write-offs from, writing off all your expenses, also the depreciation that you're able to write off. So you got appreciation, depreciation, and you got cash flow. So that's why you want to eventually graduate to owning rentals. Now, I woke up one day, a few years into the game, and I owned a little over 85 rental properties, and I literally wanted to kill myself. Owning single-family rentals is a lot of work, and in my opinion, it's like the beginning of like really understanding how to be a real estate investor, but it's not really where you want to stay. And I ended up selling all of my rentals except for a couple of my short-term rentals and some of my favorite properties that were just producing massive amounts of cash flow. I unwound all of my rental properties and I shifted over to level 4, which is multifamily, commercial, and development. And this is where the real freedom kicks in. The biggest tax benefits, the biggest amount of cash flow. All those 80 rentals, I had 80 tenants, I had 80 roofs, I had 80 kitchens, many bathrooms. All these challenges, the property, it was like I thought I would have economies of scale, but I was driving all over the place trying to manage all these properties. Now I own about 900 doors in multifamily, 3 or 4 different projects. And if one of my projects, which we can show you on the screen, is a 432 unit apartment complex here in Arizona, and I have property management on site. I have asset managers that handle everything. Every single month, I just get my check, my mailbox money. I don't have to stress about anything. This is where true freedom unlocks. And all my commercial developments, I have about 14 commercial developments going right now. On average, I make between $2 to $3 million per commercial development. And I have a professional team that handles everything. I just need to focus on raising the capital, finding the deals, underwriting the deals. And I'm more like a conductor of a orchestra. I'm just making sure everybody's doing what they need to do in order to drive those bigger deals to the finish line. And my tax write-offs over here eliminate all of my earned income from all of my wholesale activity, my flipping activity, all my other business income that I have coming in. I'm able to write off that earned income with my real estate assets that I own and keep and depreciate, which offsets that income. So as you move up the food chain, it's bigger paydays, higher risk, bigger rewards, lower risk, lower paydays. So you just have to fight as fast and as hard as you can to learn the skills and capabilities needed to get up to level 4, which is where the real players play. But let me show you where to start. So this, if you think about it like this, here's you, and you're the wholesaler. And let's say you want to make $10,000 and you want to do it within 30 days or less. How are you going to do it? First off, you're going to click the links that are underneath this video and grab some of the free training that I'm going to provide you that explain in more details how this process works. But essentially what you're going to do is you're going to turn on your marketing, and we're looking for a distressed seller or a distressed property. Now, you might think, who would ever sell their house at a discount? Somebody whose house needs a bunch of work. Fire damage, flood damage, old and outdated. Maybe it doesn't qualify for a mortgage. There's a lot of reasons why a house would become old and outdated. Or the seller themselves are distressed. Let's just be honest. People go through life challenges all the time. Death, divorce, medical issues, legal issues. There's probably 1,000 things you can think of that would cause somebody to become distressed. And unfortunately, a lot of people, especially here in the United States, are not good at saving money. So all of their wealth, all of their money is trapped in the real estate that they own. We call that trapped wealth in real estate equity. And so in order to unlock that equity, they got to sell their house. And that's where you come in. You put out marketing saying, I pay cash for houses, and they give you a call. And they say, I'd like to work out a deal. I need cash by like Friday. I can't wait for a realtor to put it on the market. I'm not willing to fix up the house and pay commissions and closing costs and all that stuff. And we say, you don't have to do any of that. we will come in, make you a cash offer, and close by next Friday. How's that sound? And they're like, that sounds great, because I have real problems I got to pay for, and I need the money like yesterday. And so you work out a deal to put their house under contract. Now, let's say you found a deal where the house was worth $300K, but it needed a bunch of work, at least $50,000 worth of work. And so you negotiate with that seller and you say, hey, I'll pay you $175,000 for your house. And they go, I'm taking $175, I want $220. And you go, well, I'll give you $190 then. And they go, I'll do $210 at the lowest. And you go, I'll make you a deal. How about I do it for more than I want to pay, because the house needs a bunch of work. I'll give you $200K for your house. Do we have a deal? And they go, it's a little less than I wanted, but I'll take that deal. You write that up on a purchase and sale agreement, and now you have their house under contract, which means you control their real estate. They can't sell it to anybody else. And now that you control their real estate, before you close, you haven't closed on it yet. All you've done up to this point is put it under contract. You turn back on the marketing machine and you try to find a cash buyer. Like I said earlier, who are these cash buyers? They are landlords and rehabbers looking for good deals, and they have a lot of money but very little time to go out there and hunt for these deals. That's where you come in. You're providing a valuable service for the homeowner and for the cash buyer, because you're doing all the heavy lifting, and you serve up a great deal, a house that's worth $300,000 that needs a bunch of work, to the cash buyer, and you say, hey, I got this great deal. It's available, but you got to close here in like a week, and I'll sell it to you. Okay, I'll sell it to you for $210,000. Okay, $210,000. It's a little messy, but you get the gist. Okay, and they say, I'll take that deal for $210,000. That's worth $300,000. And here's what happens. You assign this contract over to them, and when they close, $200,000 is going to float up to the homeowner of the house, so they get $200K. They're very happy. Their little frown turns upside down. Now they're happy, right? And the $10,000 that's left over is going to flow over to you in the form of an assignment fee. And that, my friends, is essentially wholesaling 101. And once you understand how to find these sellers, how to do the analysis, how to negotiate, put it under contract, and then find the cash buyers, you're able to quickly make 10K like that. And once you understand the process, you just rinse and repeat it over and over and over, and you keep doing that and stacking up your cash, and eventually you cherry pick out the bigger, better deals, you rehab them. Maybe you use your profits from all your wholesaling and flipping activity to take down your first rental property. And after you own some rental properties, the light bulb will go on. You'll realize the real game is played over in multifamily and commercial. And next thing you know, you're moving up the food chain. As you progress, you're going to unlock new skills: negotiation, deal analysis, raising capital, leadership skills. The more you master, the further you're going to go. Now, every level requires you to develop both hustle and business skills. You don't need to max out every skill at the start, but you do need to know enough and have enough ambition, courage, discipline, resilience, patience, and vision to get to the next level. But here's the secret. The goal isn't just about money. It's about time, legacy, and freedom. It's about becoming the type of person that can play and win at any level. This game of real estate is all about creating something real. It means that you have the skills, the experiences, and the mindset to take on any challenge. So if you're ready to play, just start where you are. Don't overthink it, don't overanalyze, don't ask for anybody else's opinion. Just begin, because the only way to lose is to not start.